Welcome to Counterpoints View. Uh, Today we are going to discuss about the latest trends and events happening in semiconductor industry. So, what we have seen over the last 3 to 4 years, and since pandemic has hit, there has been a lot of demand for chipsets, which has caused a lot of fabs to invest in their capacity. And many of these fabs are also looking to diversify beyond their home market. For example, TSMC beyond Taiwan, Intel beyond US, and also expanding in US to with their IDM 2.0 strategy. And we are also seeing a lot of government supporting this move as they want to create a more sustainable supply within their country with respect to semiconductors, because semiconductor is the new oil. And we have seen 3 to 4 big announcements from different governments, right from US Chips Act, European Chips Act, Japanese government opening up their wallets, and Indian government also with their semiconductor and design PLI policies, attracting a lot of these fabless as well as fab companies to set up their shop in their respective countries. So what we have seen over the last 1 year is a lot of developments in, especially in US and India. In India, particularly, which is considered to be a hot destination alongside US, but particularly because of its affordable labor, English speaking population, and most of the fabless companies have their largest or second largest R&D centers in India for designing and developing chip or software for the same. So the end part which was missing was the fabrication part, and that is not there in India market. And that is why you have seen India opening up almost a red carpet with $30 billion of funds to attract different companies. The first company which was announced last month, or in rather in last couple of weeks ago, was Micron, who is going to set up their $1 billion ATMP factory, ATMP unit in India in Gujarat. And the second, which second fab which was announced, was a joint venture between Vedanta Group, which is one of the top display and glass manufacturers and even mining company in India, and uh, Foxconn, which is the largest EMS globally. So, a latest development in India with respect to Vedanta and Foxconn. So, Foxconn has called off their part in the joint venture, and the deal has fallen apart. And Vedanta is on their own, and it's not sure what Foxconn is going to go, how is Foxconn going to go ahead with this. So I have my colleague Brady Wang, based out of Taiwan, who understands Foxconn in and out, and even all the foundry market and semiconductor market. So we will discuss what are the potential implications of this joint venture falling out, and also what it means for Foxconn, what it means for Vedanta Group, and what it means for India, and also overall semiconductor diversification which is happening. Hey Brady, can you talk about like what does it mean for Foxconn, and why do you think Foxconn pulled out of this joint venture?
Thanks, Neil. I think the first question is that we need to know Foxconn want to spend a lot of effort in their new business, that's the EV, right? They formed companies like the MIH, right? So they want to they want to be the others. They want to seek for the other business that's in the EV, right? But the EV they position themselves as the tier 0.5, which means they need to include a lot of component, not just the assemblies. For example, they invest a fab in Taiwan. That's a pretty small fab. Also, they invest some foundries in India and want to work with the India local companies and also seek the IP from the other companies. Now the company here is the ST Micro, right? But so all of their efforts is try to make their supply chain complete, right? So in order to make them to compete with their ex competitors, which may be the BYDs, and also they want to be the EMS or one stop shop for the whole EV supply chain, right? So that's the reason they want to invest in the foundries in India. Before the case, actually, they also try to acquire foundries in the other in South Asia, yeah, right. But actually that failed, right. So that's the reason we want to invest the Indian companies. But now we see it's a setback for Foxconn because now they cannot convince their customers, their investors, their audience that they have the capabilities to be qualified as a as a one of the key members in the supply chain, right? So they must looking for the other opportunities, maybe the India, maybe in the other countries, to supply their component in the semiconductors.
Thanks, Brady. I think those are very valid points, and Foxconn is very ambitious to become more vertically integrated player, and so is Vedanta Group, starting from mining different materials to having their own glass substrate fab, investing and then acquiring Twin Star Display to manufacture display components for different applications, and now being more ambitious to set up this fab with Foxconn, right, for manufacturing chips, which would be more matured nodes, basically, or 40 nanometer and above. So, what has happened from what how we look at this joint venture and why it supposedly failed was so first of all, Vedanta Group and Foxconn doesn't have core competency to manufacture chips. They are not fabless companies or even a fab with respect to manufacturing chips, right? So definitely they don't have technology, they don't have intellectual property to churn out chips efficiently and at a high yield rate, and they also don't have a rolodex of customers waiting for them to set up a fab and buy chips from them or manufacture chips in their fab. So having said that, they were banking on someone like ST Micro in India to license the technology, and I believe, or we believe rather, ST Micro might not be fully committed to this joint venture and licensing the technology, because it could be that since India is manufacturing hub now for most of the uh, finished goods which are being exported as well as consumed domestically, it is one of the cheapest destination, right, in terms of labor cost as well as cost of manufacturing, even with respect to China, almost a third of it. So tomorrow, if Foxconn and Vedanta, they manufacture chips for which is for a company which is ST Micro's competitor, then it would be shooting yourself on the foot. So it is a double-edged sword for ST Micro to invest and be part of this joint venture licensing the technology. So we believe it for ST Micro, the commitment was not 100%, which forced Indian government to reassess the joint venture, because Indian government was going to put 70% of the capex. They were going to contribute. If you add federal and state together, they're going to contribute to 70% of the cost, and that is what was enticing for Vedanta and Foxconn. And if uh, there was no ST Micro or there was no good technology license, then this particular joint venture would implode going down the few years after investing so much, right? So it was great, actually blessing in disguise from Indian for us and for Indian government to actually uh, call off this joint venture, call off this joint venture, put a brakes on it before and reassess and do more due diligence in attracting new players who have ready capability, ready customer rolodex. So it is not an uphill task for the players to scale.
Yeah, I fully agree with you, Neil. I mean, for Foxconn, they need to prove they have the capabilities in the semiconductor productions. You know, the the IP license is from STMicro is just a license, right? But the semiconductor production, they need a lot of know-how, right? So that means they need to bring and prove the government or the investors they have that capability, right? So they cannot just jump and then say, okay, I want to create a fab. I have the I have the IP source, and I promise I can produce the 28 or some or nanometer something. They need to start from some small fab and pull themselves first, or maybe work with the other semiconductor company first. As I said mentioned before, they have a fab in Taiwan, but we haven't seen any good news from them, right? So they need to demonstrate themselves first.
Thanks, Brady. I think Foxconn definitely has a lot of ambitions, and so does Vedanta Group. Vedanta Group, what's next for them? Obviously, they have come to the finish line close twice. Was first for the display fab, second time now for the semiconductor fab. So now they are on their own. They have a very capable CEO, David Reed, industry veteran, NXP, NTI, based out of Texas, but now in India. I think he will have industry contacts to pull off some of the technology partners needed to set up a fab. They already have a lot of lot of things planned with respect to how it could be and everything. However, they will still need to go back to drawing board in terms of finding a right technology partner which can help them set up the fab quickly, as well as have a rolodex of customers, and also the technology and the processes know-how to manufacture semiconductors. Brady, what about Foxconn? What do you think they could do next?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of challenges in front of them. Actually, Foxconn has done a lot of progress in the past, right? But it's not easy to set up a complete EV supply chain. Especially they want to be the tier 0.5, right? So that means they it's not a tier two. Tier two just need to provide the component, one or several component. Tier one need to have the capability in design or assemble, right? And also, yeah, understand the need from the OEM. But they want to be the tier 0.5, which means they are close to the car OEM, right? So they have a lot of challenges in front of them. For example, they need to seek the other opportunities with the others technology source, right? In addition to ST Micro, they can also look at maybe the Renaissance, but Renaissance is working with the other companies, India, right? Also, they need to talk to maybe the TI or the Infineon, which are also the big semiconductor players in the automotive industry, right? But it's still not easy because in from the perspective of the EMS in the consumer electronics, Foxconn is the number one. It's big, but if they are not la big in the other industry, in the other sector, in the semiconductor industry, right? So they need to prove themselves first, yeah, right. Or at least they need to start from a minor fab or minor business first, right? And seek the component from the existing players, right? And make sure they are successful to launch the first EV car, which they promise to launch that by the end of this year. To be honest, Pascal say they want their new car can be as good as the Tesla, right? It's very high standard, right? So at least they need to prove themselves to be good enough with the top tiers in China, right? Like the Neo or the others, right? Otherwise, then they will bring more confidence from the investor, from the stakeholders, right? So I think that's the first milestone they need to meet. The first challenges they need in front of them, right? The second milestone, the second challenges will be the capacities. Even they prove themselves can provide a complete supply chain, supply production line, right? But the capacities, the size is still a problem, right? If they want to work with the other car OEMs, for example, the US companies like Mercedes-Benz or the BMWs, they need to have a good commitment in the long-term commitment in the qualities, in the production capacities, right? So Yeah, so they need the second milestone, the second challenge is they need to guarantee the capacity and the qualities, and it's easy to say, but very difficult to achieve, right? So they need to there are still a lot of obstacles in front of them, right?
Great. So Foxconn ambitions are not just becoming a top EMS player across different categories beyond smartphones and consumer electronics, but also the biggest opportunity what they see is automotive and being more integrated right from chip manufacturing to the entire stack, what we call it as automotive
Yes,
2.0 in counterpoint.
yes,
What does it also mean for what does it mean for Indian semiconductor mission, right? With this joint venture falling out, is it a bad thing or a good thing? We believe, I think it's a blessing in disguise, as we said before. It if the particular joint venture would have failed somewhere down the line after all the investments, that would have been a bigger issue with respect to India semiconductor dreams. So rather, India could do their due diligence before now and attract partners like Micron, who are already having a good Rolodex of customers and also having good technology processes and are proven with respect to their manufacturing, right? Whether it's a back end or a front end. And I think the lowest hanging opportunities is to attract as many back end players first in terms of ATMP packaging and creating an ecosystem around it, and then scaling it up to front end as we have more demand. So we do have a lot of strong manufacturing base, strong software and design base, and then ATMP, and then comes the pinnacle, which is the front end process of making a wafer or etching a wafer, right, and creating chips. So I believe nothing is lost. Actually, I think this will be a good reality check for Indian semiconductor mission, and it's also case study for a lot of other different countries which are looking to attract new players. Either it's homegrown players they're promoting, which have less capability, but depending on other foreign companies to do technology transfer, or they are backing on some foreign companies 100%, right? So it remains to be seen how this progresses further in an accelerated way. But for now, I think it is a good thing that this joint venture has been called off, and maybe Vedanta can uh, look at their other options and find technology partner which has proven expertise. And similarly, Foxconn, as Brady said, can find a partner which is more aligned with its ambitions in automotive sector, and someone like partner like Infineon or Renesas and so forth. Uh, Thanks for listening to me and Brady on our views on the latest news on the joint venture call off between Foxconn and Vedanta. If you have any comments, please reach out to us at press@counterpointresearch.com or share any of your comments below this video in the comment section. Thank you very much.